about you?
I don't know of a business that they don't.
Okay, so we're going to start. What I'd like to know is, how do you know Al? Let's just go back. I understand. I know your story, but I just want you to explain.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
1967. They moved in next door when we lived on Needham Drive in northern Etobicoke. Rexdale's not a fancy name.
And Rob was there saying, I hope there's some kids. I hope there's some kids that move next door. And there was.
What was your first impression of Alan when you first met him? Like, I mean, you probably had no idea that this would be a longtime friend. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
No, of course not. No.
No.
Great guy. Great guy.
Great guy right from the very beginning.
How would
Nobody,
you
nobody could have better neighbors.
have a neighbor that I wanted to build a swimming pool in the backyard, right? But I had to figure out, how do I get the dirt out? So I went next door and talked to Al, and he said, oh yeah. Like, our houses were essentially 8 feet apart. And we tore down the fence, and this equipment went in and out for 2 days. You know, no problem. I don't think anybody else would do that.
Well, we previously asked,
Yeah.
we asked Doris Roy
Yeah.
if we could come in through. That would have been a lot easier because just coming in through the back, right?
Yeah.
But she was separated from her husband at the time, and she said, yeah, sure, that's fine, you know. And then he came along and said, you're not doing that. So good old Al, he stepped in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the way it was.
And not only that, but once the pool was in and we were using it and everything, he actually cut down a tree that was shading it. So, good neighbors.
Do you remember that?
Do you want to say something?
Actually,
Sorry, the only thing I'm worried about is the petting, because
Oh,
we-
okay.
Picking up.
well, no, we can't see the dog, so we just see the hand.
Your
over
head.
Oh.
Oh, Andy's got a little bit of a nervous.
Do you want to come up here, Bauer? Eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I won't pet him anymore.
Flower. No.
Bowers likes the attention.
There. Is that okay, Bauer?
Can you
Or-
see the dog?
Can you see
No.
him?
No.
You want him up?
Okay.
Or we can just move him. Flower.
Whatever.
Come here.
I don't have to touch him. I
Come
just
here.
thought he
Come
was
here. Come
enjoying it.
Come. He says, okay, how am I going to get there?
Just got to get in the picture.
A lap jog. There.
There.
Beautiful.
What are some words that come to mind when you think of Al?
First get it
Generous.
straight, then make it smooth. That was the buzzword for one of our family, because our oldest son worked for Al for a couple of years at the body shop. And obviously he was beating out a fender or something, and he was trying to get it smooth. And Al said, no. First you get it straight, then you get it smooth. And that's been sort of a buzzword for us for a while.
But he's also very generous
Yeah.
with his time. You know, he gives everybody has his time.
Can you tell us, because this will be shown at the party, maybe a funny story about Al, something humorous that you will never forget about him, a memory you'll never forget?
Oh, yeah.
Probably have many.
No, we were sitting in the backyard one day. This has got to be around 1978, because Trudeau Sr. was, the election was that day, and we're in the yard. We started in early afternoon, and
But Al and Marie had just come back from holidays.
yeah,
So they
So
were
is it-
still in a holiday mood
went
as
over
well.
have a drink, and then it kept going. And someone said, "Oh, we're supposed to vote today." Oops! So fortunately, we
Walk.
didn't have to drive. We kind of wavered down the street, got to the place, and the guy says, "The bar's closed." We laughed, we voted,
Yeah,
we came back. I think we continued.
I don't remember that part, but I remember, yeah, the bars closed. But
Is-
we were
is-
just having fun.
Is it hard to believe that this is happening right now?
Yes, very hard. I just can't. I can't fathom it. I just. It's not. No. Can't talk about that.
Well, when I start to wake up in the morning, I always think in my own mind, okay, what have I got to worry about today, right? What's on my mind? And first thing that comes up now is Al, you know, and there's nothing I can do about it, right? So it's hard, but obviously it's much harder on his family. Obviously, Marie and the kids, difficult, but we're hoping we can grind
Sad.
another couple of years out.
I mean, the way Denise described you, it's like her parents, like another set of parents, so family is so close that you sometimes think, okay, eventually this is going to happen, but you don't want to think about it,
No.
you know?
Right.
I don't think.
Yeah.
Yep.
Usually it's if you're out at a party somewhere, the wives sort of control you, you know, how much you drink, etc. You be careful and so on. So you guys were in the bowling league,
Bowling league, yeah.
and they had the annual bowling dinner.
Banquet and dance,
Banquet.
yeah.
So they went early, had their meal, a few drinks, etc. Al and I show up later, stone cold sober. Couldn't believe it. They're dancing on the table. This is
Not
a-
me.
This is a
And not
Pine Point
Marie.
Arena. One of the women rolls down the hill. Fantastic party.
Yeah.
None of the wives could say anything about how much you drank.
No.
It was a good night.
Yeah, they were. Some of the girls were really on that night, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we don't do that anymore and drive home.
No, we
But back
don't.
then we did. Because we were in our prime. Anyway.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
I'm just gonna call my parents up. That's okay. Mom and Dad? You guys wanna come up?
Bauer?
Yeah, Bauer's been trying to get in every shot.
Yeah.
Bauer has something to say.
Yeah.
Howard always has something to say, don't
Yes.
you, buddy?
Our son had one of those at Wheaton.
Yeah, they
Used to
warned
say,
me.
Yeah, they're.
says they're crazy.
So much personality. It's incredible.
Yeah.
He's just a love mooch.
All right.
So were you living in northern Etobicoke, as you put it, first, or were they already there?
No,
We were there first.
We were there first.
moved there in 65, and the Ridleys moved in 67.
Okay, so so you knew that they were fairly new to Canada.
Yep.
And can you tell me a little bit about that? Like, did they?
They scared us half to death. Like after they were there for a few years, they scared us half to death by saying they were going back to England. That was not nice, you know.
Yeah.
And thank goodness, I guess you and Grant said, no, 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 we don't want to go back to England. All our friends are here, right?
Yeah.
So they
But we used to
stayed.
periodically get a knock on the door, the side door, and Denise would be there with her suitcase because she's had a spat with your mother, right? And she'd stay over. Next morning, go back home, always forgiven.
If you want to hear stories about Denise, we have lots of those. But not at this time, right?
So I asked you. I'm going to ask you again. Just some words, like some to define. How would you define Alan? If someone.
Solid guy.
Okay, I'm going to ask you that again because I was talking over you. So, yeah, just if you can give me 3 words. Like, for instance, if I was answering, I'd say very loyal. He's got that stubborn side. And leadership. what would you say about Alan?
I think he's an optimist. Always has been. Solid guy. Great guy to know. Super guy.
Why do you feel privileged to have known him?
He was always upbeat. Always give you a hand if you needed it, and vice versa. So it was just a good family-to-family
It
relationship.
was. Yeah.
We get along very well.
Mm-hmm.
And when they moved in '95, that was a pretty sad week for us.
Yeah.
Week or two. It was
Yeah.
very depressing, but it was time for them to go, I guess. They downsized and moved away, but we still saw them.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a worry that you wouldn't see them again?
Yeah,
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty normal. With
Mm-hmm.
everybody you have a relationship with. They move away and you think, well, it's over, but it's not really. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in today's world, you know, neighbors really don't know one another.
It's
You
true.
see them come and go and you might say hello. How is your relationship as a neighbor? Because when Denise said, well, they're neighbors, I'm thinking, wow, that's, and they're friends now, but they started out as neighbors. How did you make it work? Like, what?
I don't know. We just had so much in common, I think, you know. And we both had the same number of kids, and Marie liked to take her kids out, and so did I. And, you know, we used to take them to the park, and, you know, we clicked. We just clicked. And from the very first time I saw her, Marie, I mean, it was in between the houses, and she said, "Hi, my name is Mari." And I said, "Oh, Mari." And she said, "Well, it's spelt Marie." So "Oh, you're Marie." So we always, you know, that was the way we met. And we just clicked.
And you played cards for a while.
We played cards for like, almost 40 years with that group of girls. So, but, you know, that's, we just got along. We
Well-
had tea every day and just got along.
What will you remember the most about Alan?
I just remember the whole thing. I don't think there's one particular thing that I could say that, you know, that I just would never forget anything about him. Never.
Well, I just went away for a few days with my oldest son, Rob, and we talked about this. And Rob worked for Al for probably 2 years, I think. And he said he was like a second father to me, you know. He was my mentor, so.
Mm-hmm.
And that spelled it out.
And what is your what's your opinion? Because I've asked other people about having this party. I mean, if Denise, you can explain it. It kind of started out as your dad had said, "I wish I could be at my own funeral," and then you started
party.
because your dad loved
He
to party.
loves to party, yeah.
And then how did it come about? Was it just a joke, and then you
It
thought,
was a joke because, you know, my mom was just about to go to have surgery the next day. So my dad came over, and the seniors often have people come in to talk to them. And it happened to be someone from the Glen Oaks Memorial Gardens.
Mm-hmm.
And they came to do presentation on, you know, preparing your funeral and having it all pre-planned. So my dad had brought it over and said, "Denise, I want you to come with me. I want to get this done and over with." They had redone their wills, and this was just one thing they'd been thinking about for a long time. So my dad says, "You know, the sad thing about a funeral is, you know, he goes, I want to be there for mine because I want to hear what people have to say. I want it to be upbeat, a party." And I said, "Dad, we should have a pre-funeral party." And it was a joke, right? It went so far as to say, "Yeah, we'll put your casket at the front and you could jump out at people."
Oh my
You know,
God.
Don't
the
go
whole-
that far.
The whole 9 yards, right? And then my mom just looked at me and said, "Denise, you can't talk about that right now. I'm going in to have surgery tomorrow." So that was the end of that. So that's really all we talked about. And then when he was diagnosed, it came up again. We were planning his funeral with a funeral celebrant, and we were telling this story, and she said, so why not have a party?
So that takes me, and you got to focus on me here. What do you think about that? Having a pre-funeral party. What was your reaction? Your initial reaction?
Surprised.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, why would you do that? Then when you think about it, well,
Why not?
why not? But that's where Allison is element.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he ran his body shop for a lot of years, but he missed his calling. He should have been a politician.
Yeah.
He knows how to press the flesh, work the
Yeah.
room,
Yeah.
and he loves people. Really, he does like
He loves people.
talking to people.
Mm-hmm.
Was when you had parties, was he the life of the party?
He was always there. I mean, you knew he was around.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We had some great times.
We did.
In fact, it reminds you of the hot tub parties.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
We got a New Year's Eve. We had New Year's Eve at our place, and
Just.
New Year's was over, and Al got the big idea. Well, come on, let's all go have a hot tub at my place.
Well, we were going to celebrate the new year in the hot tub.
Were we? Okay.
Yeah. So we all got bathing suits
Suits
on
on
and
in
went
the middle of the winter.
into the hot tub, and Al brought out the champagne, and we all sat around in the hot tub and brought the new year in.
I'm sure the
That
neighbors
was-
must have thought we were crazy.
There was snow on, lots of snow. you know.
And cold.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
not
yeah.
in the hot tub. It wasn't.
Well, your hair would sort of freeze up a little bit.
Yeah.
Get an icicle. But that was a lot of fun. We did that for, I don't know, probably 2 or 3 years after that.
Yeah. First
Became a
time was
habit.
the best, though.
Yeah.
The first time was spontaneous, and
Yeah.
it was the best.
That was a lot of
But,
fun.
the other times were good too. Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else that you'd like to say about? I guess a part of you is when Denise asked you to come and we're doing this video presentation, because this will be shown after we edit
Mhm.
it all. We'll have a presentation. I guess this is something, a part of life that you really never want to think about,
Mm-hmm.
but there's
for
a lot
sure.
of planning that Alan has time to do that maybe some people wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well, our generation, we were born in the 30s. Ada and I and Alan, Marie, Mari, and you got to expect that now, you know. It's, I'll be 80 next year. Al's a few years older than that. But we're getting to that green banana stage. Don't buy the green bananas. That's the way it is. Unless you're my mother.
Yeah. Ernie's mother's going to be 102, so
Yeah. So,
yeah.
but I don't think I have those kind of genes. And I'm
Yeah.
not sure if I'd want to have them.
I have another story of Al, how he got me out of quite a jam. Ernie got a brand new truck, and the first time I ever drove it, I took it to the Y at Shepherd and Bayview, and I was going out to his mother's after, so maybe that's why I had the truck, I don't know, but I was in my parking spot, and I looked behind, and there's nothing but clear space. So I backed right up, and there was a great big iron post there that I backed right into, smashed the fender, put a great
The
big
bumper.
dent in the bumper, yeah, put a great big dent in it. So I was just like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? So I called Al. He went to the place, the Ford place, I think, where he was working at one time, and he picked me up a fender and gave it to me like wholesale price, so it only cost me like $200. Our son put it on, and he saved my bacon. I'm telling you, I was going to get into trouble. So Al pulled me out of that one.
and what was your reaction to that, Ernie?
Fantastic.
Yeah, he did.
But he
that.
would do things.
He would.
We were going to do somewhere out of town, Rob's place in Peterborough,
Yeah.
and I had a Model A. So Ada was already at Rob's place. I was going to drive this Model A to Peterborough, right? I never made it. I got to Young Street in the 401. Bingo, thing stops. So I coasted down the hill, pulled into this parking lot somewhere and left it. Got a hold of Al. No problem. I'll send somebody. They'll pick it up, and bingo, brought it back to the house. That was the way he operated. If he could help you, you would.
Very generous.
And I'm sure there's dozens of other stories, but
Yeah.
my memory's
Sure.
not
Not as sharp as your mother's.
sharp as as Mari's. So.
Yeah, she's got the stories for sure.
And of course, you'll continue your relationship with Mari as well.
Oh gosh, yes.
Oh yeah, that's
Absolutely.
understood. Yeah.
Yes, but we're hoping it's going to be both of them for quite some time yet.
Yep,
Going to think positive.
you have to.
Yeah, he's got such a good outlooks on life that he might just, will himself. Hope
I
so.
hope.
Hope so.
Okay, got some good stories in there.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
know it's hard to talk about it sometimes, but we got some stories, which is great. Yeah.